So here we are taking a look at the two new BlackBerry 10 devices. We've got the full screen Z10 and the QWERTY keyboard toting Q10 to take a look at. Both are running the same operating system, although the Q10 is running a slightly newer version dubbed 10.1. This has minor interface changes such as darker themes. As you can see on the clock app, it now sports a black fascia, whereas the original on the Z10 is sporting a white fascia. It's not a major difference, but BlackBerry claims it will help with battery life, and they're quoting about 2 days for the Q10, although we're not quite seeing that during our tests. There's good news for the Z10 as well, as the 10.1 update is on the horizon for it, and it will get all those darker backgrounds as well. As you can see, both handsets sport the active panes to show the latest apps which you've been using. There's the generic app lists as well, and of course there's the BlackBerry Hub. As you can see on the BlackBerry Q10, it sports a smaller, squarer screen, allowing for less information at once. This may annoy some people if they like to have lots of apps, because you'll have to do a lot of sideways scrolling to find the app that you want. You can make folders really easily by dragging and dropping an app onto each other, which we've seen on Apple devices, and you can easily rename the folder, and that will help you manage your apps. The screen size is also a hindrance when you're trying to look at your messages. You can fit a lot less on the screen on the Q10, which means there's a lot more scrolling involved when you're reading long emails, and it's just a little bit more bulky to operate. To return to the home page or to peek at any new messages, you slide up from the base of both handsets. Now there's a lot more space on the bottom of the Z10 for that sweeping motion, whereas on the Q10 the keyboard does tend to get in the way every now and then, so you might not get it every time. The peek function is really handy though. You can see how many new texts or tweets or Facebook messages you have. You can slide across and see who they're from. If they're interesting enough, you can go into the hub and read more about it, or just slide back across and you'll be returned to whatever you're doing. Of course, the big difference between the two is the QWERTY keyboard. Now, BlackBerry are saying that this is the best on-screen keyboard that you can find. We're not 100% sure if that's really true. It is a very good keyboard and far more accurate than the sort of standard Android options that you get, but we do find third-party options such as SwiftKey are far better use on Android handsets. Over on the Q10 you have the physical keyboard layout. Every key has a unique angle, which BlackBerry says enhances the typing experience and makes it quicker for people to type on. Now, these keyboards are very sort of hit and miss. You either love them or you hate them. Personally, we're not huge fans of them and we find them a bit tricky to manipulate. We tend to hit the wrong key or several keys at the same time, but we've given this phone to people who have used BlackBerries extensively in the past and they've been very rapid on it and very pleased with the experience. Although the keyboard may not be on screen on the BlackBerry Q10, BlackBerry has still put in dictionary, spell check and next word prediction to help you in your typing experience. It will pick up where you should have apostrophes and punctuation, although getting things like question marks can be a little bit tricky as you have to hit Alt and then the correct key, which does slow down the typing experience slightly. Looking at the construction of both handsets, both are obviously made of plastic. Although they're quite sturdy, there's not a lot of flex in them, and we reckon if you drop it, you're not going to do too much damage. The back of the handsets do differ. The Z10 is sporting a rather thin plastic rear, which does provide a decent level of grip, but it does feel a bit loose and flimsy. The Q10 on the other hand has a glass weave rear. It feels a lot smoother, still allowing for a bit of grip, and it's a bit more substantial in the hand. It's not quite as flexible, and we reckon that will give you better protection. There's not much to choose when it comes to cameras between the two handsets. Both sport 8-megapixel sensors and the camera apps are very similar. However, the Q10 currently tops the Z10 as it's running the newer software, which gives it the HDR mode to produce better photos in variable lighting conditions, although the Z10 will get HDR mode when the 10.1 update becomes available. Skype has finally made it onto the BlackBerry 10 operating system, although it's only available on the Q10 for the moment, but it's a pared down version of what you might find on Android or iOS, so while you'll be able to do the main things like making a call and looking at your contacts, it may not have the full functionality of the other platform rivals. Skype is coming soon for the BlackBerry Z10 as well, and it will arrive when the 10.1 update arrives on the handset. So which one should you go for, the Z10 or the Q10? Well, if you're a legacy BlackBerry user and you're used to the QWERTY keyboard, then the Q10 is certainly the way to go, as its keyboard is the best offering by far from the company. However, the bigger screen on the Z10 means it's better for things like movies and games. So you really need to ask yourself, what am I going to be using my phone for when it comes to making a decision?